Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Yankee and the Brit MMA Underground. I'm Jay. He's Maddie, and our special guest today from Streetbeefs Scrapyard, Gash. Welcome, Gash.
Woo!
So, Gash, how are you doing today?
Beautiful day out. Feeling pretty good. Looking to get some training in after this show. Fire Chicken down in the scrapyard is having a sparring day today, so hopefully I'll get some rounds in there.
There's a video that just popped up in YouTube of you sparring with Fire Chicken.
Oh yeah. After the last event, we had a few rounds. I also boxed a few rounds with Anomaly. He is the older gentleman who has that match with Rabbit, and you know that guy is really skilled, and he has that old man strength, is what I'd call it. Because once he gets in like the dirty clinch with you, it's like there's like a wet towel over your head. It's what it feels like when he's doing his dirty boxing tricks.
My first question for you is, and it's two parts, so answer it however you want. But what got you into fighting, and how did you find Scrapyard?
So I have a couple friends who practice Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and one of them had taken me to the gym sometime at the end of 2019. And at the same gym, they also had Muay Thai classes, and they told me that I should take a free trial class for the Muay Thai as well as the BJJ, so I can decide if I'd rather do one or the other. And I just really liked the Muay Thai classes more. I thought it was cool to stand up and bang, but the classes were interrupted pretty early into 2020 by COVID, and then by injury. I had a broken ankle in spring of 2020, but I just got really impatient during the lockdowns because I knew I wanted to fight, and I knew I wasn't getting the full training in. And when I saw that Steve was hosting this fight event in his backyard, I knew, okay, this is a good venue. This is a great venue for me because I can just fight here. I don't need a ton of formal training to stand a chance. And that would be my first event, and it definitely came out of impatience. I always say it's impatient. I just wanted to fight, and it's addictive in a lot of ways. Sort of similar, I think, to how running and regular exercise can be addictive. Fighting is just exciting. It's not too dangerous, but it's a little bit dangerous. There's risks of injury.
It takes a special type of person to be willing to get punched in the face. So
yeah, I think it's a very different kind of addiction. Like you have your idea of like, oh yeah, I just want to go for a run, but then when you add in, oh, I want to go for a run and I want to get punched in the face, like there's a very different type of addiction.
You don't want to get punched in the face when you're fighting. That's the point. But you want to box them up. You want to box them up. You don't want to get boxed up. But
see, I love that. I love that kind of mentality. Just like I'm going to dodge all the shots instead. It's a very different. So in the UK, it's very popular to play rugby, and like it's like the mentalist sport we've got, and it's like it's just running and you're just getting wiped out. But the idea is like you're getting wiped out in order to like smash somebody else, and you just want to hit a pad, you know?
Yeah, you don't want to. You're going to be on the short end of the stick, and it's also that's kind of the issue. Is my fights are kind of have been definitely leaning into my chin a lot, so I'm not so sure about not getting hit in the face. That's the platonic ideal of the situation, but I definitely get hit in the face a lot when I fight.
Well, speaking of your fights, being that I've seen you do MMA, kickboxing, I'll go right to your first MMA fight that I saw with you and Gumby. First of all, Gumby is a little deceiving when you look at Gumby going into the cage or the ring, because Gumby just looks like this really nice, wholesome kid, but he can fight. But I will say, you hit him where in that first round where I thought it was over.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem. I thought it was over too, which is that's the problem. That's the problem. Gumby's style is just like he's losing till he's not. You know, in every single one of his fights, he gets like taken down. Someone cracks him. Something happens. He always comes out on top. He always wins the grappling exchange. He wins the scramble. He finds the choke. He finds the submission. So I guess that's just his style. I don't know a thing about grappling or jiu-jitsu. It's not. I don't know. Seems fine to me, but I love striking. I love standing up and striking. I don't like rolling around on the ground or anything like that. This is muddy too. Although now we have turf, but it was muddy back then.
It's not the same.
You could tell you like striking. Sorry, Maddie, go ahead.
No, it's fine. I was just saying it's not the same as rocking someone, like having to grapple someone on the floor. It's not the same as just getting a good strike to them. Like,
yeah,
you know, there's no better feeling than just hitting someone and thinking, oh yeah, I got him, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I knew you stung him because as a grappler, his first instinct was to go for the takedown.
Yeah. My little sister was so mad at him for that. She saw that and he was like, "Oh, that's such a cheap way to win." I was trying to explain to her that this is that I was trying to explain to her that it's not. It's just part of the game. But she was like, "Well, I think it's cheap." She's a casual fan, I guess, of MMA, but she knows what she likes about it, and she likes to see people bang it out. So I was watching Max Holloway versus Calvin Cutter with her, and at first she was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this fight. They're kind of small guys. But then she saw what a war that was and how they were beating on each other, and she loved that fight.
I actually find when it comes to the UFC that 55, 45, and 35 are the most exciting fights for weight classes because they don't get winded. They still hit like Mack trucks. And even when it does go to the ground, it's so fast moving.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm not sure. I keep on kind of oscillating between my favorite weight class in the UFC right now. But it always sticks around bantamweight or lightweight. Usually oscillates between those two, but sometimes featherweight has a lot of great fighters too, and on the UFC roster right now, and not to snub flyweight, which also has a lot of great fighters and a lot of excitement in their ranks right now.
Well, just since we're on the subject of the lighter people in the UFC, and you seem to watch a lot of UFC like me because I'm a UFC junkie, who would you rather see fight Shane or Sugar Shane O'Malley? Would you rather see Cody No Love or Dominic Cruz?
Oh, I want to see that guy humiliated, and I'm not sure who can do it. I don't like that guy personally, but he has some skills. He has some skills for sure.
Is it the cocky nature?
Yeah, I think it's just his. I think it's mostly his out of octagon lifestyle. He has like his podcast show. He has his own shows and stuff, and I shouldn't even say I don't like him because there's a lot of you shouldn't think of celebrities that way as whether you like him or not. But he's really skilled. He deserves a quality opponent. Dominic Cruz, I like Dominic Cruz. So I would, as much as that matchup makes some sense, I'd be really worried for Dominic going into that fight. I think he has the skills to beat Sean O'Malley, but Cruz is a little bit slower than he used to be. And he doesn't have the finishing power that that Sean O'Malley has. But Cruz also has some good wrestling skills too. So I think he's a smart guy and will come up with a good game plan. I think that would be a good matchup. I think if Sean O'Malley were to fight Cody Garbrandt, I think that would be more clearly for Sean O'Malley's side. Garbrandt has a lot of scary power for the weight class, but a lot of his tactics he uses are very repetitive, and I think someone like Sean O'Malley is going to see through that and really test that chin, which is a questionable chin for him at this point in his career.
Yeah, it seems like he had a stronger chin in the beginning, and once you get knocked out a few times, it's like the Chuck Liddell syndrome. It like you get breathed on and it's over.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be a big. So I think the Cody Garbrandt match. I think it'd be a really bad matchup for Cody Garbrandt. I think he would get the short end of the stick, but he also has his own power. So maybe he could take it home with that. But
I think no matter
a more
what they
competitive
do,
fight with Dominic Cruz on paper.
I don't think the UFC can lose. I think they sell a bunch of pay-per-views no matter who he fights at this point.
Yeah.
But as for kickboxing, I saw you also kickbox Gumby. Is that because you guys are there and about the same weight, or is it because there's a little rivalry brewing between you
that
two?
was me supposed to kick. That was when I did that because I was supposed to kick his ass. I was supposed to kick his ass there because so many people were saying, "Oh wow, Gash would have won the stand-up fight." Well, so I was like, "Oh, let me go kick his ass in kickboxing." Turned out to be a total war, and he outlanded me. But that guy. But good on that guy for taking a kickboxing match where he can't wrestle. That's a fight. That's a fight that kind of builds you up because you teach yourself, that you're not made out of glass. You don't want to take too many beatings for the sake of longevity, of course. But if you're tough, you can learn that you can rely on your chin to get stuff done too.
And your left hook.
Risks. Yeah, that's what I like. I like my left hook. I like my lead hook.
You clipped him, and had him hurt, like with that left hook at the beginning of the first round. And then that was a nasty left hook you hit him with. And then I also, in the third round, when you had him in the corner, I thought it was over again.
Oh, I thought it was over too. When I rewatched that though, I think it was much closer. Like it wasn't like a clear rope-a-dope. But I think the striking was actually kind of similar. But I'm willing to take the risk like that to be up in someone's business, and just trade. So that's a great fight.
Right in my notes, I wrote down you are an offensive fighter who likes to keep moving forward.
Yeah, I had tried to change that style up a little bit in some of the later fights, but we're fixing things. We're fixing things, and we're returning to that. We're returning to that pressure style. So the pressure style will return in the future here.
I see you getting better with every fight, and that's just from me watching you on YouTube. So I'm sure that's exciting for you, because I'm not even gonna lie, in the Buddy V fight, I literally watched it 3 times. My wife watched it, and I had another buddy watch it, and we all agree you won that fight.
I would also like to say I agree that you won that fight as well.
I appreciate to hear something like that, but I don't want to take anything away from Buddy V, who worked really hard in that fight and did what he had to convince the judges of the decision. At the time, at the end of round 2, in the moment, I thought I won that fight. I looked to my corner and I said, I won those 2 rounds. And he kind of nodded his head. And that was a huge mistake. That was a huge mistake to go into round 3 without feeling like I needed that round. So that's a lesson. That's a lesson learned right there. And when it comes down to it, these fights, they only matter to so much in terms of a record. I'm trying to build up fight experience and fight skills. And that's exactly what I got out of that fight. And also have a lot of fun. And that's another thing I got when I fought Buddy B. He's a real tough guy.
I appreciate you being very classy about it. And I understand you don't want to take anything away. And as a fighter, you don't want to think about the wouldas, shouldas, and couldas. But I'll say it for you again. I thought you won that fight. But I even put here, constant pressure, moving forward, landed a beautiful head kick in the second round.
Yeah.
And personally, I saw the only stretch that Buddy controlled that whole fight was the final minute of the whole fight.
Yeah, but he landed a lot of impactful shots, which
Absolutely.
is what I'm guessing the judges went for. And that's definitely, I was really happy to land that kick. I thought that combination leading into it was my most mature moment as a fighter. To have the tempo of 1-2 body kick, feint, head kick. I got the reactions I wanted. I pressed him up against the cage with the first combination like I wanted. I got the reaction with the feint like I wanted, and I landed the strike almost perfectly. It was just a glancing blow. It was just a glancing blow though. So that was probably my most mature moment as a fighter. I think is what I would describe that as. It's having the most.
I think the audience I think the audience that are kind of listening would really appreciate that they're seeing like your growth, because we're seeing it from fight to fight and you're also analyzing it and you're like, yeah, that's my growth. Like you were saying, like I didn't have that much training going in because COVID kind of has disrupted it going into the street beef ring in general, and you're there for growth. You have different targets to everyone else, and the growth of your fighting is really improving. And I think next time, you're going to go in a better fighter every time. And that's a really impressive thing to see. I kind of love the class that you go into a fight with as well, saying respect to my opponent, let's go. And everybody else is kind of like, shout out to my sponsors. What's up, Rachel? Like all of that.
I think everyone, only one guy goes, what's up, Rachel? But
I know, we know who that is.
but I think there's a lot of respect. I think everyone has a lot of respect for each other when they're fighting. And that's really the best way it is, even from the most selfish point of view possible. Just selfishly speaking, you don't want to think that you're fighting some kind of bum or tin can and then get beat by that guy, because then you're losing to bums and tin cans, and you don't want to win over a bum or a tin can and be like, oh yeah, I kicked this bum's ass. You don't want it. You don't want to be beating bums. You want to be beating quality opponents. So even for that's a selfish perspective. But respect also too has a more native place and quality to it as well. But it seems on all levels you should just be respectful to your opponent.
Yeah.
I have a rule when it comes to MMA, because all of us have watched fights with friends and heard people go, oh, he's a bitch or he's a bum or whatever. If you step in a cage and shut the door behind you, you can no longer be called either a bum or a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, this is where my harsh side comes out. I think it's kind of easy to get in the cage in the first place. It's harder to stay in there. It's harder and it's even harder to really motivate yourself inside of there, because people really do they really do give up before the fight ends, before the conclusion of the fight. There's a moment where they just stop digging and they just want to go down. They want to take a knee. They want to just like let the guy scramble on their back and sink the choke in. And that's where I think most of the mentality comes in, is when you're willing to dig at every moment in the fight. So that's what I was most upset about myself with. And on top of, all these technical things after the Buddy V fight was just, did I really dig in that third round? Did I really reach inside of myself and try to finish the fight with everything I have? And the answer to that is not really. If I'm being totally open and totally honest with you. So that's a mentality thing that I don't always have, and that I wish I always did have.
Well, one of my most impressive things when I was watching about you, to me, when I was watching you fight, and it's kind of on the same lines where you said you gave up. I don't know, man. Tiger Dragon, that fight, I felt the leg kicks, and we've all had the wind knocked out of us. And the way you tried to fight through both of them, I think is the complete opposite of giving up.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. There's definitely moments in that fight where I felt like I was really activating myself to the best I could do.
Yeah, I mean, we've all had the wind knocked out of us. That sucks. How you even stood back up, I'm not even sure. And I've never been kicked in the leg, but I knocked my leg off a coffee table, so no thank you.
I gotta be honest. After that last knockdown, this was not in the film on YouTube, but you know, the referee in my corner had physically lifted to pick me up from the ground. My leg was really badly hurt. It was very swollen. I took a picture of it. I took a picture of my shin, and it was just like straight, whoop, straight.
Wow.
Yeah, I was not experienced to those calf kicks at all. I was trying to check them, but it just hurt way too much. I needed to be more nimble and more evasive rather than absorbent of those strikes. Because even when did get a correct check in, it was just damaging me a lot.
So moving forward, are you looking more to do more kickboxing than MMA, or are you going to keep doing it all, or what are you looking to do moving forward?
I gotta stay kickboxing. Long-term goal is to pick up some MMA matches. Is a long-term goal. But for now, midterm goal is just more kickboxing matches. Or maybe more Thai matches if we get some of those in here, because I would love to clinch up. I would love to clinch up, and I would love to use my elbows.
I would love to watch that, because when you're watching the kickboxing, and I know a lot of people do MMA, so they grab in the dirty boxing and they want to throw or clinch, and then they realize they have to like let go and move. Yeah. So it would be neat to watch. Are you thinking, and maybe this, you haven't even thought of this yet, are you thinking anything past Street Beefs?
If I were to go to the amateur circuit, that's something I would probably look at after a few more years of training, maybe 1 or 2 more years of training, maybe faster if I feel like I'm progressing properly. So no, it's a question. I'm training like it's in the future, but I'm not certain that it is.
And the one thing I've noticed just with doing these interviews from Street Beefs, everybody has a different answer to that question. Some people want to move on. Some people want to stay where they are. Some people are like, I have no idea. So I don't think there's any wrong answer, but we ask everybody. So I got you with it too. Maddie, do you have any questions?
I just think I'm kind of sat here just like, this is an impressive like way to think about the whole entire MMA circuit. Like, you kind of just sat there like really analyzing yourself. Like, you see a lot of these MMA fighters and a lot of the people that we've spoken to, like they'll know exactly what I'm talking about as well, where there's a certain amount of just, yeah, I'm the best. I'm really, really good at this certain thing. And whereas you're like analyzing yourself and you know where you can get better. Do you think you're taking the kickboxing matches that to kind of really perfect a strength? So like when I've watched your fights and the people who've watched our interviews before, like I know very little about fighting. I'm more of a boxing kind of guy myself, but when I've watched your fights, it's a lot of kicks. So do you think the kickboxing is to really enhance that strength of yours before working on everything else?
Yeah, the reason that kickboxing a lot. It's just because I got massive legs, so I got like a little bit of a built-in cheat code there because my legs are longer than everybody else's. My arms are kind of okay length, but I don't think I don't always have a very dominant reach advantage. Not always. My leg reach advantage though is always dominant, and I'm also strong in my legs. So that's the one thing I look for is if I think the one thing I'm thinking is if I'm in doubt, I just want to kick the leg as hard as I can. So that's because there's all kinds of improvements you can make in a fight, before a fight, during a fight, where you're like you want to hit them with a new combination, you want to establish a new game plan. Sometimes it's just too hard.
Whoa.
He's too lazy to get out of the bed, so he has to bark at squirrels from my bedroom.
All right.
He's an old man. Rosie. Yeah, but back to my point is I was saying, I got game plans and that I can adjust and change. But a really simple thing is just kick them in the legs harder, because that's always going to be good. It's always going to be good to kick someone in the leg hard, and it's something I can do.
And as we've said on this, if you land that kind of like a kick to the head, or if you land like a knockout kick to the head, that is the way that you're going to blow up on YouTube and blow up on streets. Like, let's be real, like that's a great way for you to put yourself out.
Power for it. I got the flexibility and power for those head kicks. Need to set them up, line them up, and land them.
Yeah, and that's something that'll come with more fights.
And leg kicks, I agree with you. Just ask Conor McGregor. He still hasn't figured out what to do with leg kicks. And I will say, when I watch your fight, I like how you use the straight front kick to keep distance.
Yeah, it's good. It's like a jab, because you can just you can get your range. You can get your range with it too. That's a great tool. That's a great tool to use.
So, any ideas when your next fight will be?
I'm thinking this summer. I'm thinking maybe an anniversary fight in August from my very first fight in the scrapyard.
And I know you guys don't call anybody out, and I'm not asking you to, but in your head, is there somebody that you would really love to fight, or are you just willing to take on anybody at this point?
There's a lot of matchups that make sense, because 155 is very populated. There's not a million kickboxers though, although maybe I can drag an MMA guy into doing a kickboxing match, or a boxing guy into doing a kickboxing match, like I did with Gumby.
Okay.
So Buddy V too, I think. Buddy V's more, he has a couple boxing, he's been all over the place, so I did less dragging. It was less of a, it was more dragging Gumby into kickboxing than it was to drag Buddy V into it, because he's been doing all the different matchups. So maybe I can, maybe I'll get somebody to do it, because the nature of this kind of style of matchups, where you just kind of sign up, is people are pretty flexible and will do other matchups.
And if I got it right, you guys do, like, there can be up to a 15-pound weight difference. Is that what it is?
I think generally we look for a 10-pound sliding scale.
Okay.
But there'll be bigger and smaller weight differences depending. I would not fight someone who's 15 pounds heavier than me. That would be too much of a weight difference for me. I don't even know if I would do like 5 pounds extra weight difference even. Well, maybe I would. So far I've been, honestly, I've been fighting smaller guys, to be honest. As in, we weigh in pretty much the same, but I'm longer. I'm longer. And if they were like cutting weight or something, they'd go down to a lower weight class than 155. I don't cut weight for street beefs. I don't know anyone who does. But but like you can, like if you look at like Gumby or something, I think when he wrestles like around 135 pounds or something. When he does his college wrestling, Buddy V could definitely cut weight to like at least 145. I don't think I would ever be able to hit 145. I'm very tall. I'm very tall and long. So I'm like a true 155er.
It's healthier not to cut the weight if you don't have to anyway. Why do that brutal dehydration to your body? It's just,
Yeah, especially when you're in an environment where nobody's cutting weight. It's all even. It's all even. You're not missing out on a big advantage.
well, that's very cool. Maddie, before we take up Gash's whole day, do you have anything else?
I've just been trying to convert the 144 into kilometers for my kilograms for myself to be able to
That's
actually know what weights we're
divide
talking
by
about.
2.2. You don't use kilograms, though. You use like stone or something, don't you?
Yeah, but so it's like 65 kg. Well, yeah. I use kilograms because I date a Latvian, and obviously in Europe they use kilograms, so I've learned how to use kilograms instead of stone. But
okay,
yeah, it's about 9 stone.
I have no idea what a
wanna
stone
know.
is. I just hear the UKers, the British will just say like
Yeah,
they're
it's
X
like-
stone and 5 pounds or something. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's like I'm like 85 kilograms, and that's like 13.5 stone, or like nearly 14 stone, like somewhere.
Your
around
unit
there.
of
But anyway.
measurements are even more confusing than the American units. So
Yeah,
congratulations.
definitely. I was what I was going to ask is where did the name Gash come from? Is where I was going to go with my final question.
I just think it's a funny name.
Just a fun name.
It is. The name is absolutely what drew me to your first fight that I watched on Street Beefs.
If you know,
Gash
you know.
versus
If you know,
Gumby.
you know.
Like Gash versus Gumby is just the most epic of names. You don't even need to see the people who are fighting to go, yeah, I gotta check
Gumby
that
is
out.
a great name for that guy. That guy, Gumby, is a very fitting name for that guy. He just squeezes and stretches his way out of every situation he's in.
Jay Gotham was telling us that he wears tie-dyed Crocs on the way up to the ring.
Oh, yeah. He loves Crocs. He loves Jesus. He loves his country.
Did you-
Crocs and Jesus, man?
Did you
What
see
else
the
do you need?
reaction video that some guy does of yours and Gumby's fight where he calls them Jesus hands?
Jesus. Maybe I think I did.
He picked you to win the fight. He had to do push-ups.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I have that aura. I have that intimidating aura. That's why nobody messes with me ever.
Yeah, I reached out to Gumby and he said he's interested in doing an interview too. So he looks like he'll be a fun interview to do. And everybody really seems to like him. And I got to ask you, did you get the same reaction when you were going to fight Gumby, when you looked at him and were you like, can this guy fight? And then he gets in the ring and yeah, he can fight.
I was there with my dad, and I told my dad, I was like, I'm gonna take this scrawny kid's head off. Is like what I told him. Is what I told him. I mean, I heard he was a wrestler. I heard he was a wrestler going into the fight. Besides that, I didn't know anything about him.
I think we all underestimated him.
No, yeah, and honestly, honestly, when I did the kickboxing match a month later with him, like I saw him warming up, and I was like, do I remember him? Like he still like has that frame, but like I was looking at him, and I thought, did he have that much muscle last month? Because before the fight, because I thought he looked bigger. I haven't asked him at all if he like started lifting weights or anything. Or maybe it was just my mind playing tricks on me, but for the second matchup, I thought he looked a lot bigger before the fight.
I love like the close-knit nature of Scrapyard. Like I love that you guys all like know each other, and it's nice to see.
Yeah. We're growing. We're getting new fighters. we're getting like new fighters, but all the original guys, all of them know each other, so that's nice.
So my last
I hear
question
Jay's
before we
driving
let
over
you
there.
go is a question I ask everybody who gets interviewed from Street Beefs, no matter which chapter. Maddie and I believe that the natural progression at some point will have to be that all the champions from each one fight each other. Do you think that would happen, and would you like to see it?
Yeah, I think they should have. I was actually talking about this. I think they should have like regional belts and then national belts. So you
Maddie
have
said
people,
the same thing.
yeah. So they have like
Unification belt.
so if like Big Smile wins his rematch with Shinigami or whatever, like whoever wins that one, they get the organization wide belt. They get the undisputed title, but they don't get to collect. They don't get to collect the local belt. And I think that's what they should do.
And then at some point, you would have the scrapyard heavyweight champion fight against the
Yeah,
winner of.
the scrapyard needs a heavyweight champion. Steve, make the scrapyard, give the heavyweights a belt. We have enough of them. We got Pookie, we got Ponyboy, we got Animal, we got the Destroyer, we got all kinds of guys, and they're lethal. They're lethal. And if you give them a belt, that means Shinigami and Big Smile have to fight them. They'll have to.
Shinigami and Big Smile both said they would definitely come to the scrapyard.
Yeah.
And
they're
anybody
ready.
who watches the show, Steve is Fire Chicken. So Fire Chicken, they're yelling out, Fire Chicken Gash wants you to give the belt out, so that the winner has to face Scrapyard's champion for a unification Street Beefs heavyweight champion.
Yeah. I think that's the best way to handle it. Last time Shinigami and Big Smile fought, they introduced it in a way I think also made a lot of sense, where they just said, this is not going to be a fight for the belt. We're just doing it to see who's who and what's what. And that's another good way to handle it too. So that has that's a big thumb up for me as well. Although it would definitely be another solution to have the overall organization belt on top of regional belts.
See, all of us and the fighters are in agreement. Now we just got to get Mr. Rubio and Scarface and Fire Chicken all on board so that we can make this happen.
Yeah.
You wait until there's a Europe chapter in London, the European chapter, and then we can call it an international belt,
There you go.
I've heard rumors of a UK chapter coming. I don't know what situation that is right now. I've heard rumors that the UK branch is coming and a Mexican branch is appearing too. That's the rumors I've heard.
The Mexican branch.
We have not heard about the Mexican one, but we have heard from multiple people that the UK one is true. And because I'm serving my self-interest, somebody out there, we need a Midwest chapter.
Just start your own chapter.
I heard a rumor about that too. I heard a rumor about an Iowa branch actually. But it was all rumors. It's all rumors. But I heard a rumor for an Iowa branch.
Yeah, but
we've got our insider knowledge.
We do sports talk. It's all rumors. We're good with rumors.
That's how we work, man. That's how we work. Only rumors.
Definitely these things will materialize or they won't, especially after COVID. COVID is on the decline and there's less restrictions to worry about. Then that's really when, if these things will materialize, then they will. And if they won't, they won't.
Well, thank you so much, Gash, for giving us your time. Thank you for entertaining us with your fights. We appreciate it so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on too.
Yeah, really enjoyed it.
It was our pleasure. All right, you guys, thanks for watching. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, all the podcasting platforms. All right, guys, one world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.